Hey there, Impact Zone fam. How's it going? Well, I'll tell you how it's going for me. Because I'm fucking still pissed, bro. They looked at this fucking match, between Mike Santana and Steve Macklin and the feud that they had, which was fucking awesome. And the match that they had was really awesome too. And they said, nah, we're not gonna build to that for Slammiversary. What the fuck are you building to Slammiversary? The only other thing that has anything going on for it potentially, in some regard, is this whole thing with, like, it's in Boston, so Eddie's gonna challenge. But he hasn't even got a number one contendership any fucking more. So how's he gonna get that? Unless he fucking pins Santana or something in the Champions Challenge or whatever else it is, which he's not going to be in because he's challenging some other random person. Oh, well, not some random person, but he's just challenging somebody else. Why isn't he in the Champions Challenge? What? What are you doing? Like, maybe you're gonna do a three-way? I don't know, but fuck's sake. Fuck's sake. And if, this is the thing, this is probably well, this was what the result was going to be a couple of months ago or whatever it fucking was. Okay, so we just wanted to have that match and have that moment and have that thing, and we didn't have time to build it for another paper. Fuck that, you did. You could have built it to Slammiversary if you really wanted. No, we're not going to do that. Or even, again, triple threat, fatal four-way, ladder match, whatever, King of the Mountain, whatever. No, not going to do that. Just going to have it on. Yes, it's a great TV match, and you've got to advertise your fucking TV to fucking get people to fucking watch the fucking TV. I get that. But when you're giving things like this away, and then you're just saying, bye, Macklin. See you later. Bye. What? Again, there's no real big legitimate challengers for Mike Santana. No one's been legitimized. And here you go, you just throw away, again, this thing that you could have said, okay, well, let's do that, or let's do this, or let's actually focus in on Eddie Edwards and give him another chance, put him in the Championships Challenge and have him beat Santana, in the middle of the ring, buddy. So that way he gets a number one contendership. No, he's just in some random other match. So is it going to be Eric Young and, like I said before, Santana at Slammiversary? Please at least announce who it's going to be by next week, because it's only 2 or 3 weeks away at that point. My God, announce some fucking matches. Any fucking matches for this show. It doesn't have to be that match. It's obvious that you're going to have the Hardys versus the Righteous in some sort of match. It's seemingly obvious you're going to have a match between, I'm about to say DK, but Demon Bunny and the Elegance brand. I kind of feel like, though, the Elegance brand, they might lose those titles because they've held those titles for an awful long time at this point. And yeah, they haven't been defended in 3 months, but that just shows you the lack of depth in the women's tag team division and the lack of care in the women's tag team division. But at least there is those segments that they do have sometimes, which is good. And Demon Bunny, they can do some great segments too. So hey, that'll be cool to see some more of that. At least there's something there. And they'll have a bit of a run with those titles for a while, I guess. Probably for months, weeks, even probably years. Who even knows at this point, because they've got no other fucking tag teams. So yeah. What else is pretty obvious? I don't think that it's so obvious what the tag teams are actually doing. But then again, maybe I said this before, where I said you've advertised the ladder match and you've advertised Ultimate X. So if the Hardys aren't in that ladder match, which I don't know whether they are, which I don't know that they're not, but still, it feels like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And that's where I was like thinking like before, like, surely, you know, this match is going to happen at Slammiversary between the Righteous and the Hardys, but it doesn't have to be. They just have to be in the match. You know what I mean? Or they have to be involved in it. You know what I mean? So you could have that happen at Lockdown. I mean, I don't know how exactly you're going to extend the feud that long, exactly. But that's okay, that's fine. But still, you just got no real challengers for the world title. You haven't done anything with anyone. And the thing that you could have done here, you just threw away. And now, again, at least the other person that you, in theory, could have been a contender, that you've got somewhat of a story and somewhat of a reason to fucking be in that position. You said, nah, they're just in some other random match with some other person, which basically anybody could have had. Brian Myers could have had that match. You know? Anyone could have had that match. Well, Cedric couldn't, I guess, but whatever. Myers could have had that match, I think. That's pretty much it, actually, to be honest. But yeah, again, why? Why not have him in the championship challenge? Because then at least you're like, well, this is a direction people feel like this is a direction we're going. And I'm sad because I'm like, man, Macklin's amazing, and man, this main event was amazing, and I really enjoyed it in sense of the match of itself and all of that stuff. And everything that they've done up to now to try to get this thing together, in that sense of saying, hey, here's Macklin, he's gone crazy, da-da-da-da. Now, you know, even like the re-promoting him a little bit on the night. But then again, I felt like, well, you really should have waited. You should have built to another night. No, you just throw it away in one night. Man, that's where it's just like, you know, this is a dead end. You know, right? This is over tonight. It's not like, you know, where's Macklin going to go now? What's he going to do now? You know, he's not going to go back to Santana because he can't. So what's he going to do now? You know what I mean? Like, realistically, you know, yeah. And if you have something between Macklin, actually there's something. Like, it seemed like there was something there. But what would you have between the two of them? You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to have a match between the two of them, like, I would say who is where? Where is who? Who have the fans got to cheer for? You know what I mean? You've got two heels. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't be horrible because there is something there-ish, but it's like, maybe you should have fucking Eric Young's career on the fucking line there. You know what I mean? And, or maybe whoever loses has to quit TNA. How about that? You know, something like that. I don't know. And then Macklin beats EY. You know, I don't know. There's something. You know, that's potential. I don't think that's anything yet. Here you're kind of starting to brew something between, and I said this before, Elijah and AJ Francis. Okay, so that's maybe going to happen at Slammiversary. Okay. I mean, you've got a few guys. I probably jumped the gun a fair bit before. But it does feel like, despite the number of people that you've got in that division, it's like, yeah, you've got people, but what are they doing? They're just there and existing for the most part, apart from one of your new signings, and, you know, like that sort of thing. It's like, well, you've already got Leon Slater there. Hopefully we'll see him like have I almost don't know whether you're gonna have a rematch between now and Slammiversary. I said that before, where it was like, why would he have a rematch? Might as well have the quote-unquote rematch of Slammiversary, then do something maybe at Lockdown. That feels like a whole lot better and a whole lot cleaner and a whole lot clearer. You know what I mean? But then where you, like, maybe you don't know because, like, well, we're thinking Slater's leaving, so... But I still kind of want to see him. I think a lot of people, actually, really want to see Santana and Slater for the title. That could be a big thing at Bound for Glory if you build it up. I mean, but the obvious thing there is it's like, or anyone actually, but I think that's what a lot of people kind of want to see. But, like, the obvious thing there is, well, Leon ain't winning. Unfortunately, probably. I mean, I wouldn't think so, at least anyway. So, you start having to say, okay, what then? And maybe he's leaving, so maybe it doesn't matter. But that, like, what, like, you start asking yourself the question, well, where does that leave everybody else that's there? You know what I mean? Not just saying, hey, well, even if he's not leaving, it starts saying, okay, well, where does that leave everybody else? And then you also say, hey, well, where does that leave, Leon? Where does he go from here? Situation. Which could be a chance to go into the tag team division, go into the international title division, go into, I don't know, go back to the X division. I don't know. So, but yeah, like, it's not like that's horrible either, but I'm just saying, it's like, yeah, like, it's not so bad, but it's just one of those things of saying, well, where are we going with this? Why are we going there with this? And you can go there, but it's like, well, why? What for? And how does it help everybody? Not just how does it help this one person or that one person or whatever. Because again, like I said, if you're going to have that match, Santana's already a very made man at this point. Very made man. And maybe, like, again, like, maybe you're, like, gonna do it early next year, more so. Or maybe you're gonna get, like, Santana closer to, like, holding this thing for, like, a year or so. Or whatever. I don't know. But at a certain point, you've got to change things up. You've got to change things up. And if you've got a full year to build things for him, I still don't see what you've got. You know what I mean? You still don't have a whole lot to work with. So you're going to go back to the well that you've already run dry. Unless somebody like Leon's going to turn heel or something like that. I don't see that happening. And even if he does, unless it's before, he faces Santana, it's like, well, what does that mean? Yeah, I don't know. So I'm pissed that Macklin Santana match, like, I know that this is probably the match that they wish they could have had on pay-per-view or whatever, or at least part thereof, and shit happens. But they should have said, and again, they should have said, okay, let's announce this weeks in advance, weeks and weeks and weeks in advance, or whatever else it is. And then let's do some of these vignettes over the next couple of weeks. And then let's get to this match, and here it comes, and Macklin's also beat this person and beat that person and done this and done, and is more dangerous than ever, shown it, done it, not just, oh, we're going to have some stuff here, we're going to have some stuff there, then he's going to return, and then we're going to have a few vignettes, whatever else, blah, 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 and then he's going to lose. What? Like, bro. Serious? It just takes all the wind out of his sails. You know, so now he's in that position of, well, what's next? You know what I mean? And you start to say, well, maybe, like, you could see it between Macklin saying, hey, you and Santana and fucking EY are going to have that match. So you could see Macklin perhaps interfering and getting in EY's face. So that's maybe how you could kind of turn EY more heel, or more babyface rather, and whatnot. But I don't know how well that's going to work. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I think it's such a quick turnaround of like only a couple of weeks. And yeah, if you're gonna do that, you really have to get good heat with Macklin. Well, you've already got good heat with Macklin, but you've got to get good sympathy for EY then. You've got to bloody him, you've got to have him beaten up, you've got to have all this stuff so that, you know, people are like, oh shit, we feel bad for EY, not just that EY is a bit of an asshole, he's a bit of a crazy man, and whatever else he is, you know, all that stuff. But here we have, you know, Macklin, who's very much similar. It's like, oh, okay. So who have we got to root for? You know what I mean? If neither of them are kind of graying that line between like, okay, well, I'll be more babyface or something else, you know, again. So I think Macklin has that. I think Macklin needs that more heel edge, especially now, and needs to become more violent, more, you know, like unpredictable, more crazy, more off the edge. That's what you need. That's what makes good TV, you know, like people going, holy shit, we don't know what's going to happen. And this guy's lost the plot, and this guy's finally really snapped, and all of this, you know, like because he's been fed all this stuff. And or maybe again, like I'm going down this rabbit hole of thinking that they're going to face each other, but maybe they'll just fucking form a fucking tag team. Who fucking knows? But, you know, I would much, like, even if that's like the plan B, like, or whatever, I mean, I don't think anyone would be that mad. I mean, it depends who they're facing, I guess. And there's not that many other tag teams that much. Maybe like Sinner and Saint. That's about it. And freaking, you know, list the handful of tag teams. That's about it. So, but yeah, like, I mean, but then again, like, I think we were talking about like the releases before of WWE, and like this new addition to TNA. We haven't really talked about it. And I went off on the thing last week of saying how much the X Division was so barren and whatnot. Maybe I did that before they debuted this new guy. So yeah. I may, and again, like, but even though they have more guys than kind of where I was like saying, maybe I said that a bit hastily or whatever, but still, none of them are there doing anything. None of them, like, in the X Division, none of them are like, hey, except for this new guy, of course, who's just debuted. It's like, oh, okay, right, we brought you here specifically for this. Okay. And again, I don't know. I just don't, like, for now, there's no reason for it. You know what I mean? So if he's going to challenge Cedric, especially like in the next few weeks or in the next few months, there's no point in him winning that belt. No point. 6 months from now, yeah, sure, maybe Bound for Glory, maybe, like, then maybe, but, or maybe early next year, Genesis, the big, like, again, now we're only really going to have the big shows, you know. Why are we going to have, or what are we going to have this happen? Why? How? All that stuff. So, yeah. honestly, it does, some stuff does excite me because it's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's see who they fucking do something with. But the thing is, they should have already fucking done it. They should have already said, this is who it's going to be. And there should already be a fucking graphic that people are already going, okay, let's build this for the next few weeks. Let's get there and let's land the plane. Because this is one of the biggest shows of the year. You should know, hey, who's the main event for this show at least a month out. At least a month out, if not more. Now it's just like, no, we still don't know who it is. And none of the people that are there feel like they're even going there. They'll just feel like, oh, well, they're there. And we'll figure out a match for somebody to wrestle somebody at that show. And then we'll wrestle that match. Actually, I kind of want to touch on this as well before I wander off and finish up here on this one. Is that there's been a lot of rumblings about Bayley coming into to TNA at some point, probably for Slammiversary. So there, to me, I feel like no matter, I said this to a few people, no matter how much she wants to come to TNA, and I think she even said this like last year or even maybe a couple of years ago at some point in an interview there, here or there, or whatever else it was, and I think that there was we even had some discussion about it here on the channel a while back, and I think I sort of talked about Bayley like making these interviews, and I even think I remember we talked a long time ago about her fellow Four Horsewoman, Becky Lynch, potentially wanting to be in TNA also, especially back in the day, both of them wanted to be back in TNA. So, like, but Bayley apparently has been making these statements of saying, I want to come, blah, blah, blah. That's great. That's cool. That's awesome if she wants to come. That's actually a big endorsement in some ways, you know, because again, actually, I just thought of this and I just have to say it before I fucking forget again, is that you're obviously building to some sort of tag team match, I think, between Santino and Indy versus Stax and Ariana. So yeah, I suppose we'll talk about that later on, but yeah, that's another obvious one. But anyway, back to Bayley. Not Bayley to Bayley, but back to Bayley. But yeah, no, like, no matter how much she wants to do it, I think that there is basically a 0% chance of her coming in and doing this show. Even if she is going to do this show, dude, it's like only a couple of weeks away. So if you were going to do it, this is the time that you should have already announced it. It should already be announced, you know, and people should already know. So it's way too late to be like, oh, by the way, we're going to let Bayley go over there. Like, it's not like I don't think Bayley would come. I think Bayley wants to come. I think she wants to come and do stuff. I think she wants to be here. I actually think that she would rather be in TNA than she would, like, right now, than she'd rather be in WWE, honestly. But beside that, you know, I think that she knows, hey, they don't fucking value me over here, so I might as well go over there and do stuff. And then live what I wanted to do and check something off the bucket list kind of thing. But then I can also help people and yada, yada, yada. And maybe like WWE will like see it, or maybe I'll just like don't care and just keep doing what I want to be doing and be happy and stop worrying about them. You know, that's what I'd like do. But yeah, I just don't think WWE, the higher ups, the executives, no matter how little they value Bayley, they are, or anyone else, they are just into securing down their own talent. They do not give, like, actually it's funny that they actually let this new WWE ID guy into TNA to lose a match, which was like really weird. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, sure, whatever. Like, again, that makes no sense. This is like the first thing that you've done in more than several months between WWE and TNA, and it's like random jobber match for this kid. Okay, cool, great. You know, I don't want to say jobber match, but basically a jobber match. He was there to lose. You know, he wasn't there to win or to do anything. You know, so he's not going to be here next week. He's not going to be here next month. We're never probably going to see him again until he gets released in a few years' time or whatever. After WWE, has been hoarding him and saying, enjoy some nice catering, kid. Don't go out there and get over. And then turns around and complains, oh, you didn't go out there and get over. What the fuck were you doing? You fucking idiot. And that's the same thing that they do with everybody. Like, the same thing that happens in AEW as well. Like, so to me, it's just ridiculous, but whatever. But still, like, again, WWE do not care one iota about nobody nor nothing. All they care about is, making sure that they're making money and that they're keeping their talent away from AEW or TNA or anybody else that would actually be like, yeah, you don't own us, so, you can't control us and you can't control our talent. And the buyout of AAA honestly was a bad thing in many ways, but in some ways it was a good thing in some ways. But I think it was kind of like WWE's, like, I don't know whether it was their plan B or whatever, but I think it was more of, they knew, hey, they're more connected to Mexico and we want to be more connected to Mexico. We're always looking for more lucha stars in Mexico. So that's what we want. We want a foothold in Mexico. We want a reason to be in Mexico. We want effectively WWE NXT, but in Mexico. Basically, we want our scouts to be more in Mexico. So partnering with them means that we can be more connected to that lucha libre, more connected to, that sort of stuff and whatnot, and all sorts of different things. But that's their goal. Their goal is complete, utter dominance, and like that's why I think I can't remember. I think Tony Khan did stuff with Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling recently. Scott D'Amore's new promotion, if you don't know about it. So that kind of showed me, hey, they're trying to do the same thing, or kind of trying to do the same thing, where it's like, oh, well, we've got to do this because WWE just did that sort of thing. So now we've got to get a partner in Canada and whatnot. And I think that, were they partnering with AAA or with, or was it CMML? I think it might have been CMML, or something like that. And I think WWE bought the Lucha Underground rights or something like that, the tape library or something. So again, yeah, it's interesting to see some of these things, and again, where WWE is trying to get more into Canada as well, and do other things to promote themselves there and do other stuff. But yeah, I have very little expectations that Bayley is, like, unless they release her or unless she says, fuck you, I am done with you guys. You guys are at every fucking turn, saying I can't do this and I can't do that and that I have no value. Or not even just doing that, just showing it. Just by going, we haven't really got anything for you. Whatever. We don't care. Bye. Next. It's so disrespectful, the way they act and the way they do these things. But anyway, guys. Yeah, you guys get it. You guys know. I'm sure. And again, like I would like maybe again WWE would do it, maybe extremely maybe if TNA brought something more to the table and said, "Hey, okay, here you go. You can have this, you can have that, whatever else it is," or WWE was basically buying TNA, something like that. But I don't really think TNA wants to sell the WWE, and I really don't think they should sell the WWE at all. So, and I think that that's been like the partnership hasn't been that good, honestly. Like it's been a bit better than the AEW one, but it's not been that good. Still, but still, it's one of those things of saying, well, what are we getting? What are we getting out of this? Besides just Bailey turns up and has a match, then disappears, and then we never see her again until she gets released or whatever, you know, or gets her contract cut in half or whatever, things like that. And again, that's the same thing. It's like even new hires, I think now, like or whatever, are getting half the money that they were gonna get before. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, the CEOs are like, yeah, we'll just triple our income. That's fine. We're already making like $1 million, but that's fine. So it wasn't really about like decreasing the budget or whatever. Actually, I did think somebody brought this up before, and I was like, that seems interesting because it's like the only reason that you like downsize like this or you do things like this is for a sale, is to cut the dead wood or as much as possible, or at least most of it, to sort of like and boost up the stock options so that it's like, wow, those stocks are looking good, so hey, well, time to sell. That looks really good for investors, things like that. So maybe TKO won't be around for too much longer in WWE, but then again, who knows? So we'll have to wait and see. I don't really care about that stuff that much. I'm not going to pay all that much attention. I'm going to be paying attention mainly to TNA because, again, like, I can't remember what video I actually said this on, but like, we've heard it from a lot of people, and this is not just back in the day, so to speak, or whatever, but Hunter and Sean, like even on like recent documentaries and things like that, they're absolute dicks. Absolute dicks. And maybe they're funny dicks in sometimes, but yeah, they're absolute dicks. So and they're only interested. They're still only interested in their own ego things. So, but yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you join me again in another one. So, be good out there. Please be safe.